Hey, it's MK, and I am back with another celebration hop. This one is for Dolly Boyd. She is scrapping on the go here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. And I decided to pick a rather girly layout to lift. However, you know me, it's not going to be pink. So anyways, I did pick out some wooden gears that I have, as well as some leftover leaves from yesterday's layout. And then I brought in some geared buttons that I found over at Hobby Lobby, I believe is where it was. I think I was in Arizona, so I don't really remember. And then I will be kind of piecing together my title. I'm going to use my new cut file. Well, actually, it's not a cut file. It's a wood veneer that is in my shop, brand new as of today. So I am excited to use the new stuff. And then it's going to be part of my title, as well as using this amazing stencil. And then these two paper glazes, which yesterday I used them as well, and I did not know the names of them. So today I thought that I would share the names. That way, if anybody asks, I did share them because I'm horrible when it comes to remembering those types of things. I also have Distressed Oxide Spray in Ground Espresso, as well as my Altenew Antique Gold Ink Spray. I have this gorgeous stamp set that is by Wallflower or Wildflower. Oh my god, now I can't remember. Waffle Flower is what it's called. Woo! Which I really, really love. I have two pieces of some close to my heart cardstock, as well as just a one-off, because I don't have enough cardstock for the backings of my photos. And I'm going to do a single page with a, what's it called? A pocket page next to it. Oh my god, the words, you guys, are just gone. All right, so I'm going to start my background. Instead of just doing splatters, I decided to do a circular bit of the, the stencil, because my pattern paper, or I'm not using pattern paper as my background. So I thought that this would help just a little bit to bring pattern in to a rather dull cardstock, right? Then I decided to go ahead and do the packaging technique, just like what is in the inspiration sketch that I borrowed from Dolly. I absolutely love the circular elements inside her layout. I just love it. And so I'm using these, I think they're called pie charts, from the Waffle Flower instead of just plain Jane circles. I really like how they are, divided and pied up. I also am trying to make this a companion page to the page that will be on the left-hand side in my album that I've already created. So that's where I got my color scheme from, and pretty much the rest of the elements as well is because, like I said, I stole with pride what I already do, or what I already created. And the reason that is because both pages are about the exact same elements that are from a mine, which no longer exists. And it is called the Red Cloud Mine. It's one of the mines, one of the many mines that was active back in the life of Bodhi. I know you guys are probably so tired of hearing about Bodhi. It is unbelievable, but so much happened in such a short time frame that you would never even know that it was all the same town. I mean, I could probably talk about the Red Cloud Mine and it not even be associated with Bodhi, except for the fact that the vein of gold that made Bodhi, it along its path, it had several mines, and this red cloud happened to be one of them. And it actually was one of the deepest mines. So it went down well over 726 feet into the ground that this mine shaft went. And it was still explored because it was the deepest mine. I'm trying to get my words together. I apologize. But it was because it was the deepest mine. They went back several times over the years. So even though it shut down in 1882, this particular building shut down, but it got reopened back in the 20s, the 1920s, and from 28 to 1935, they continued this shaft, still trying to hit that vein again, trying to make sure that it was fully depleted before they actually ended up shutting down all the mines at Bodie. So anyways, I also wanted to let you guys know that the building no longer exists. But when you first get into Bodie, and I keep saying this too, because you don't even reach the town and there's so much to look at. I mean, you can just pull into the parking lot and there's just all this stuff. And you can spend an entire day right there without even walking into the town of Bodie, which is phenomenal in my book, by the way. And so the first thing that you see is all of the leftover elements from the Red Cloud mine, which is actually kind of cool because most of this stuff would have been melted down or would have been recycled in some way, shape, or form for other buildings or other mines or other areas. But instead, they basically took all of the elements like the, what's it called? The boiler, they took the air compressor, they took the hoist, and then they took the head frame, which is the wood, framed piece, which housed the little elevator that they used to hoist men and items up and down the shaft. But anyways, they kept all this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. It looks like a hot mess because it's not spread out to where it's supposed to be, but it is still like recognizable. Like you can look at the boiler and go, oh my gosh, that I know exactly what that is. Well, I know what it is because of the fact that it looks like when you take that pretty portion off of a locomotive, that's exactly what this boiler looks like, is the engine of a locomotive. And I just was so thrilled when I saw it. I was like, oh my God, they have an engine here. No, they didn't. They didn't have a steam engine. It was the boiler that ran the air compressor, which, and the hoist. I mean, this was the main workhorse of this mine site was this boiler. And I'm so impressed, you guys. I'm impressed about little things. I apologize. But the air compressor is kind of cool too, because it ventilated the shafts for the men to be able to breathe easier, because the deeper in the earth that you go, the hotter it gets. I know that the mines today, some of the temperatures are 132 degrees. And so they have to ventilate that air in order for the miners to be able to breathe that much heat. And then, of course, the deeper that you go, you do have to wear, they're not SCBAs, but they are a relatively close contraption. And you can last, I believe, depending on your health, up to 45 minutes in a rebreather is kind of what they're called. And that depends on the mine that you go into, the underground mine that you go into these days. But back in the day, they didn't have that. And so sophisticated as this is, they had an air compressor that ventilated the shaft, as well as ran all their air drills, which their air drills are what put the holes in the wall, and then they put the dynamite in, and then they blast it, and that's how much more they can go in, and deep how they can go, and all that other stuff. So, I mean, it's just phenomenal how much we have taken away from this type of mining and still kind of use it today, except that the tooling is a little bit more safe and modernized and things like that. So, it's just, you guys, I'm geeking out here, but this is just such cool stuff. It really, really is. And the fact that we can identify with it is just so super cool. So what these two pictures are on my main layout are placards that are next to all this junk laying on the ground in order for you to identify with it. So it labels what the boiler is, and it labels the hoist, and it labels the pulleys for the hoist. It labels all of that stuff, so you guys can kind of sort of recognize it when you walk through it and see all this junk laying on the ground. So that's what these two photos are. And then, of course, like I said, I used some of the same exact elements as I used for yesterday, except for my title is History Remembered, because I think that that's pretty cool, that they didn't save the building of the mine, but they saved the elements of the mine. And I mean, the pieces that made the mine up. Yes, the 175 people that worked there definitely were substantial for the mine to work. But the fact that these elements were still there are just awesome. All right, now these are the pictures of the junk that is on the ground. So the photo that I just put in one sleeve was the hoists that, one operates the down position and one operates the up position. And then the other photo that I put in the sleeve was my daughter standing next to the pulley that the hoist cable ran on at the top of the head frame. And then it was connected to the elevator that it hoisted up and down. So, and it's huge, you guys. I mean, my daughter looks like a Smurf next to that pulley. I went ahead and I mixed media'd these two pockets because they don't have any photos. And so I'm just going to lightly decorate them. I don't want to take away too much from the pockets, from the other pockets, the photos that are in the pockets. I don't want to take away too much of that, but I want the eye to go across from the left side and venture over to the right. And having all of these like elements within my pockets and going over to my main page, they definitely help assist the eye to move across the page. Now, I'm not decorating anything on any of the pockets that have photos. I am not doing that because seriously, the junk on the ground, and I keep calling it junk because that is exactly what it looks like. It looks like a junkyard, in all honesty. But it on the ground it's gorgeous in a way, in its own way. It is just gorgeous. And I'm not sure if I show it to you guys or not, but the other side of the pocket page has the boiler. It's got pictures and things like that of just the boiler, and I've got a front view picture of it to where it definitely looks like a locomotive engine because of all of the piping that is that is part of the boiler system, the boiler engine of a steam engine. And so anyways, and yes, it was ran by coal because it was a steam engine back in the day. It wasn't a diesel just yet. So, and that's another cool feature of they just basically took, the engine off of a locomotive, put it inside a brick frame. So that way, because when engines move, they actually rotate, they twist because of the fact that the crankshaft has to rotate, and that spin of the crankshaft actually causes the whole engine to twist. So it has to sit on a frame, and they built the frame out of brick back in the day. And so they stuck this big old huge steam engine inside, which they call it a boiler because there's technically not an engine attached to it, but it is still an engine. It's a steam to steam power engine is what they call it. And so it's inside this brick frame. And then of course, all the piping and things like that go over to the hoist and then around and over to the air compressor. It's just all full of steam. And that's what makes everything go, which is just phenomenal, you guys. I mean, the power of steam is amazing. I'm just mind blown. Anyways, what am I doing? I have no idea. So once I'm done decorating the blank card, I should say, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, there's my engine right there. That's the boiler right there. It's so cool. Anyways, I'm going to attach my photo. Now, the reason why I didn't attach my photo first and then build all the chunky bits on the back is because of the fact that I didn't want my photo to accidentally get smudged should there be any mixed media on my glass mat. That's the only reason why I did not do that, and I wanted to put my photos down last. These two here on the other side of the of my mixed media, or my pocket cards, I should say. One of them is a really good picture of the head frame, and then the other one I believe is one of the pulleys, but I think it's the boiler and the pulley, and I'm far, far away from them. I believe. I don't really remember, even though I just made this layout. That's go me. So yeah, I am taking apart my, I brought in some Simple Stories 3D stickers, and they're a little bit too 3D, especially for my pocket pages. And so what I did basically is just take off a few layers. So I took off the very bottom layer, which was the sticker part. And then I also took off the very top layer, which just kind of took an element and raised it up to make it look like it was 3D. I believe that the little stickers look just fine without them. But I did that to both of the stickers that I ended up using, and to kind of sort of darken them up a little bit because they were a little bit on the bright side. I also took my ink dauber or sponge or whatever that's called, and inked the edges on with the brown that I've been using, which I believe is ground espresso. That's the ink that I finally went with, because I did try, while I was doing lots of mixed media and talking about absolutely nothing, I did try to use different browns, because I thought that I used a darker brown, but it ended up being the espresso that I did end up using. So, all right, I'm going to finish this off just by, gluing a few things down. I don't want to make them too bulky, but because of the fact that I just have these two tiny little pockets on one side, and then on the flip side will be my 4x6 card that I created. They're nowhere near each other. In fact, one's at the top of the pocket page and one's at the bottom of the pocket page. So I'm not too worried about the fact that I have a good dimension going on with the wood veneer, especially when I stacked two wood veneer kind of on top of each other. That does make for a lot of dimension, but it's only in one singular pocket, so it's not throughout the entire pocket page. So it does help not be so warpy, I should say, with the dimension, and I'm okay with that. All right, so here are the close-ups of my two little pocket cards that I created. I just wanted to do something a little bit different. Like I said, just trying to get your eye to go over to the pockets and kind of skim over them. And then there is the last little bit of my card. I want to thank you guys so very, very much for listening to me ramble on and on and on about the mines, you guys. It's one of my favorite things, and it's fascinating what we've done over the years, and especially how safe we have made. We've made mining and getting, our natural resources to work for us, is how I see it. All right. I also thought that because I have a ton of questions on how do I attach flip-flaps. Oh my gosh, I have no idea. So what I do is I basically lift up a portion of the sticky backed cover. I lift it up so I have a pull tab, but I don't lift it up all the way or too much, because if I place it down wrong, I wouldn't be able to lift it back up. Then I align it to the picture on the very, the picture that I'm putting it over. I try to align it up as much as possible, so that way you can't see both pictures, like both edges. And then once I am happy with that, I will take my pre-made pull tab that I created and make sure that everything stays straight, hold it down really, really tight, and pull that up as fast as I possibly can without shifting, because they are very slick, being page protectors. And then I'll take my bone folder, which mine is just a Teflon bone folder by Dress Your Crafts. And I just rub it over. Once the little dots are gone, and this, I say dots because these are close to my heart flip-flaps, but once the little dots are gone, then it's permanent. But once they still stay dots, you can lift it up at least 2 or 3 times if you didn't get them straight. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I know this one is a very long one. I apologize about that. I had a lot to show you guys. Anyways, be sure to check out everyone else that is helping Dolly celebrate her 2,000 subscriber milestone today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will check y'all later. Bye.